Alright, time for the last offensive skill position on the field, and it's of course the tight end. I know some offenses use like a halfback, like Chris Cooley, but I'm not gonna bother with that. There aren't enough for me to be concerned with. Okay, the tight end up here in Seattle, we are not looking good up here right now. Number one tight end Marcus Pollard, and actually, I do think he is a little underrated. Played very well in Indianapolis for a while. Went to Detroit and struggled, but who wouldn't struggle in Detroit, especially during the years he was there? He's got some talent, but he's 35 years old now or something. We kind of signed him because we absolutely had to. After we decided to let Jeremy Stevens go, we're desperate at tight end, so we decided to bring in this old guy, Pollard. I don't know what to expect out of him, but I'm just hoping maybe he can throw some good blocks and get open every now and then. I'm not expecting a Pro Bowler. I just want a guy to go out there and get 300 and 400 yards, something like that. Maybe 3 or 4 touchdowns. Just very average. I don't want him dropping any balls. That's the most important thing. And I want him to block well. Obviously, we just let Jeremy Stevens go, who was, by the way, a very talented tight end who could not keep his head screwed on straight, which really unfortunate. I was rooting for him, being a Huskies fan, but it did not work out. And after that last DUI or whatever it was he just got, we just had to let him go. Now he's in Tampa Bay. We'll see how that works out. I don't know. It's a shame because he had a lot of talent. When he was on, nobody could cover him. He was always open when he brings his game. Really, all he ever did was beat himself by dropping passes. That's the truth. Behind him, Atula Mealy. In 2003 and 2004, I think it was, he was quite good for us. His stats were about the same as Stevens. He's a little more reliable than Stevens ever was, but he's not very physically talented. He's more of an effort guy who, parlays that effort into good stats, but now he's getting old, and I don't know if we can depend on him anymore to be a quality tight end. Yeah. But, I like him. I'm good with him in like 2 tight end sets, or if somebody gets hurt, he can come in and play. He's a decent enough player. And I guess behind him, I don't know what we're doing right now. I still wish we re-signed Will Heller last offseason, but he's cut now, so if we want him, we can always bring him back. That's about it for our tight end situation. I'm going to go ahead and give it a C-. I think we can maybe... Well, hold it. I just remembered. We signed out of unrestricted free agency Joel Newton. I like this kid. I saw him play at Oregon, and I think he's a great player. I mean, he's got good physical skills, put up pretty good numbers in college. I think he should have gone at least in the 4th round. I don't know how he fell that far, but I'm happy to have him. I think this boosts this grade up to a C because I think in a couple years he can be our starting tight end and contribute and produce very well. So Newton, I'm hoping, is the future because that was a nice, unrestricted, undrafted free agent signing by us. So I'll go ahead and give it a C. Okay. Tight ends around the league. The tight end position is basically a combination of wide receiver and offensive tackle. Tight ends are expected to go out over the middle and catch the ball on occasion. They'll be covered by linebackers and safeties more often than not. They themselves are slower than most wide receivers, but so are the people who are covering them. Sometimes they're considered safety valves. And these days, you've got tight ends that are more like hybrids, like Kellen Winslow and Jeremy Shockey. These guys who are so fast that they can just run right past most linebackers and safeties. The more traditional tight ends are supposed to be blockers. I think Kellen Winslow Sr. and Shannon Sharp and players like that sort of revolutionized the spot. And Tony Gonzalez, too. But back in the heyday, they just did a lot of blocking in the running and passing game, acting as kind of a sixth offensive lineman. But these days, pretty much any tight end in the league worth anything knows how to catch the ball. A couple exceptions: Kyle Brady did well in Jacksonville for a while. I remember he was a top 10 pick by the Jets. Never did anything in the receiving game, but he could block. Yeah, really, that's just about all you can say about tight end. It's a position that continues to advance, and the latest iteration of this is represented in Vernon Davis, the tight end for the 49ers out of Maryland. He can run as fast as just about any wide receiver, but he's got the build of a tight end, so we'll see how the position evolves from there. Okay, the best tight end in the league right now, it's got to be Antonio Gates in San Diego. He's got the size, the speed, the jump, the hands. He's expected to have 1,000-yard seasons pretty much every season. He's pretty much the number one passing target in that offense. I mean, Tony Gonzalez is right there behind him, but I think Tony's getting a little old, and his game is starting to drop off a bit, so I give it to Gates. I do think Kellen Winslow Jr. will be the best tight end in the league as early as this year and as late as next year, but hold the horses on him. But he did so much this last year with Brady Quinn. Charlie Fry at QB, and that says a lot to me, so watch out for Mr. Winslow. I like this kid. Overrated tight end. This is tough. I do like the tight end position a lot, and for the most part, the players that do get credit deserve the credit. I think maybe overrated could be Dallas Clark. He seems to get a lot of press, even though he has a tough time staying healthy, has a tough time posting one really good season. I know part of it is that Indianapolis offense with all those great receivers, but he's got to post up some great 800 or 900-yard season before I can really be sold into him. Great part of that offense, but he needs to have a dominant season one of these years. Underrated tight end. Kellen Winslow is definitely an option here. Like I said, kid doesn't get enough attention for nearly breaking 1,000 yards with Charlie Fry as your QB. But I think I'll go with L.J. Smith in Philadelphia. He contributes quite a bit to that offense. Good blocker. Doesn't drop a lot of passes, especially this last year. He's getting better. Contributes well in the passing game. I like him a lot. I think he's on the verge of being a top 10 tight end, and I hope he gets a good deal this upcoming offseason in Philadelphia. Good young player. Alright. And breakout tight end this year, Daniel Graham of the Denver Broncos. Never panned out completely as a Patriot, largely because they drafted Ben Watson. But Daniel Graham catching passes from Jay Cutler. I like that. I like Cutler. I've already said that a couple times. I think he's going to be a star in this league, and he's going to be doing it by throwing to Daniel Graham. Okay, that's your tight end position, so hopefully in the next week or so I can do the offensive line. Then I guess I'll do special teams. I know that's not terribly interesting, but I might as well do it, so alright, I'm out. See ya.